Jason woke early again, unable to rest for long. The air in the base felt heavy, as if everyone was waiting for a storm. He checked on Lila and found her sitting quietly, drawing on a piece of paper. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. Jason smiled back, but worry was in his eyes. He tried not to show it, but Lila could always sense when something was wrong. He brought her breakfast, and they ate together in the small medical room. Nurses came in to check on her, but Jason could tell they were curious about her too. Whispers followed him in the hallways. Everyone wanted to know who the strange alien girl was and why Jason was always at her side. Later that morning, Captain Olivia came to see Jason. She closed the door behind her, her face serious. The council wants to move Lila to a different base. They believe she might be too dangerous to keep here. Jason stood up quickly. She's just a child. She's not dangerous. She needs protection, not to be treated like a prisoner. Olivia nodded, understanding his anger. I know, but the council has already decided. They plan to move her this afternoon. Jason's mind raced. He could not let Lila be taken somewhere he could not protect. Her. I want to speak to the council, he said. Olivia sighed. I will arrange it, but they are not likely to change their minds. While he waited, Jason stayed close to Lila. He tried to act normal, reading to her and playing simple games. Lila seemed to feel his worry. Am I in trouble? She asked softly. Jason shook his head. No, Lila, you've done nothing wrong. Some people just don't understand you yet. Soon, he was called to the council room. The council members sat at a long table, their faces cold and distant. Jason stood before them feeling anger and fear. She is not a threat, he said. She is a child, and she deserves kindness. One council member replied, You have grown too attached to her. We need to know what she is capable of. Jason's voice was steady. She's scared and alone. Treating her like an enemy will only hurt her. The council did not listen. She will be moved. Security will escort her to the transport bay this afternoon. Jason left the room, heart pounding. He knew he could not let them take Lila. He hurried to his quarters and packed a small bag with supplies. He sent a secret message to his friend, Mia, a scientist who once helped Kayla. He asked her to meet him at the East Airlock in an hour. Jason returned to Lila. We have to leave, he whispered. Do you trust me? Lila nodded without hesitation. She took his hand, holding tight. Moved quietly through the base, avoiding busy corridors. Jason kept his head down and walked quickly, hoping not to draw attention. When they reached the East Airlock, Mia was waiting, looking nervous but ready to help. Jason, what's happening? Mia asked, opening the door. They're moving Lila. I can't let that happen. Will you help us? Mia nodded. Of course. Come with me. Mia led them through hidden hallways and storage rooms. She knew the base well and avoided the security patrols. They reached the loading docks, where a small shuttle was parked. This ship is not scheduled to leave for hours, Mia said. But I changed the logs. You'll have a head start. Jason thanked her, feeling grateful for her loyalty. They boarded the shuttle, and Jason started the engines. As they left the base, he felt both relief and fear. He had just become a fugitive, but he was sure he had done the right thing. Out in space, Jason set a course for an old outpost, a place where no one would look for them. Lila sat beside him, quiet but calm. She did not cry or ask questions. She just watched him, trusting that he would protect her. They landed on the remote outpost late at night. The small building was empty, with just a few rooms and enough supplies. For a few weeks, Jason made sure the doors were secure. He set up a place for Lila to sleep, making her as comfortable as possible. In the days that followed, Jason and Lila settled into a quiet routine. They cooked simple meals, played games, and talked about everything and nothing. For the first time, Jason felt like a real father, caring for his daughter far from the noise of the base. Mia visited them every few days, bringing supplies and news. She told Jason that the base was searching for them, but she had erased as much evidence as she could. They want answers, Jason. They won't stop looking for you. I know, Jason said, but I won't let them take her. One afternoon, while Jason was fixing a broken water filter, Lila came running in. Something's wrong, she said quietly. I feel scared. Jason knelt down, looking into her eyes. What do you feel? Lila shook her head. I don't know. It's like someone is close, watching us. Jason felt his heart race. Okay, we'll stay alert. That night, Jason sat by the window, watching the stars. Lila joined him, curling up beside him. I had a dream, she whispered. Someone was calling for help. Jason hugged her gently. Sometimes dreams are just dreams, Lila. But sometimes they mean something. As the days passed, Lila's strange feelings grew stronger. She sometimes guessed what Jason was thinking before he spoke. She could sense when Mia was coming, even before the shuttle appeared in the sky. Jason began to wonder if she really did have special abilities, something the council had feared. He did not tell Lila, but he started writing down everything she did that seemed unusual. He hoped it was just his imagination, but deep down he knew Lila was not an ordinary child. Still, she was his daughter, and he would protect her no matter what. As the days passed and the search for them grew more intense, Jason knew their time at the outpost would not last forever. Soon, they would have to keep moving. But for now, he was grateful for every quiet moment with Lila, hoping he could give her a sense of family she had never known. Jason woke up early, his mind still busy with thoughts of Lila and what the DNA tests had revealed. He watched her sleep, her small hand curled around the edge of her blanket. She looked peaceful, but Jason knew things would soon get difficult. The base was always busy in the morning, and today was no different. He could hear the sounds of people moving, doors opening, and voices on the loudspeakers. It felt like the whole place was waiting for something to happen. After breakfast, Captain Olivia called Jason to her office again. She stood behind her desk, her face serious. The council is coming in 2 hours. They want to see the girl, and they will ask you questions. Be ready. Jason nodded. She's scared. She needs time. There's no time, Captain Olivia said. We need to know why the enemy wanted her. They may come for her again. Jason understood, but he did not like it. He went back to the medical room and sat with Lila. He smiled at her and tried to act calm. Are you okay? He asked gently. Lila looked at him with big, worried eyes. Are the bad people coming back? No. Not if I can help it, Jason said, holding her hand. But some important people want to talk to you today. I'll be right there with you. Lila nodded slowly, trusting him. Jason helped her get ready, brushing her hair gently and helping her pick out a clean shirt from the bag the nurse had brought. She tried to smile, but Jason could see she was scared. When the council arrived, the whole base felt tense. 4 serious-looking people in dark uniforms came in, walking together with Captain Olivia. They sat in the meeting room and waited for Jason and Lila. Jason led Lila inside, holding her hand tightly. He sat beside her, ready to answer anything. The council members asked questions, their voices calm but cold. They wanted to know what Lila remembered, who her mother was, and why the enemy had taken her. Lila answered softly, her voice shaking. They took me from my home. My mother told me to hide, but they found me. I don't know why. One council member, an older woman, leaned forward. Do you have any special skills? Can you do things other children can't? Lila shook her head. I don't think so. Jason watched the council carefully. He saw how they looked at Lila not as a child, but as something valuable, maybe even dangerous. It made him angry, but he kept calm for Lila's sake. After the meeting, the council members talked quietly among themselves. Captain Olivia pulled Jason aside. They want to keep her under observation. They think she might have secret abilities from the enemy experiments. She's just a kid, Jason said, his voice tight. They don't care, Captain Olivia said. Their job is to protect everyone, but I know you want to help her. Just be careful. That day, Jason spent as much time as he could with Lila. He brought her books and puzzles. He talked with her, asking about her life with Kayla. Lila told him stories about their small home and the games they played. Jason listened closely, hoping to learn something useful, but mostly he wanted to comfort her. As night came, Jason began to wonder if Kayla could still be alive. The way Lila spoke of her mother made it sound like she had only been taken, not killed. Jason remembered a hidden code system Kayla used during her missions. He searched the base's communication logs, looking for any message that seemed strange or familiar. After hours of looking, he found one. It was an old encrypted message sent just after Kayla's last known location. Jason worked late, using the code system he learned from her. Slowly, he broke the message. It was short but clear. They are taking me. Protect our child. I love you, Jason. Jason sat back in his chair, tears filling his eyes. Kayla had survived the first attack. She had tried to reach him, but the message never made it to his hands until now. He felt a mix of hope and pain. Maybe Kayla was still out there somewhere. He printed the message and showed it to Captain Olivia the next morning. This is proof. Kayla was alive after the attack. She tried to warn me about Lila. Olivia looked at the paper. We need more information, Jason. The council will not stop asking questions until they get the answers they want. Then let me keep searching, Jason said. I know there's more, Olivia nodded, but do it quietly. We don't want to attract attention from the enemy. Or from our own people, Jason agreed. He spent the next day looking through old files, hidden reports, and secret messages. He learned that the enemy had taken several people from Kayla's base, not just her. Some had returned, but most were never seen again. At the same time, Lila became more comfortable at the base. She began to laugh when Jason told jokes, and she played with some of the nurses. But at night, she always wanted Jason nearby. She was afraid of being alone. One afternoon, while Jason was reading a report, Lila asked quietly, Will you go away too? Jason knelt beside her. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. She smiled, holding his hand tightly. For the first time, Jason felt like he was truly her father, not just her rescuer. He was determined to protect her, no matter what the council or the enemy did. But even as things seemed to settle, Jason felt danger growing. He knew someone would try to take Lila again. He could feel eyes watching them, and whispers followed. Him in the halls, he decided to be ready for anything. He would not lose his daughter after just finding her. As another day ended, Jason looked up at the stars through the base window, thinking of Kayla, of the past, and of the uncertain future. But for now, Lila was safe, and that was enough. The shuttle moved smoothly through the silence of space, heading back to the main base. Jason sat beside Lila, watching her sleep. Every time she moved, he looked at her face, searching for some clue to the truth behind her strange necklace. Lucas piloted the shuttle, checking their course and making sure they were not being followed. Jason's thoughts turned to the past. He remembered Kayla's gentle smile and her laugh. She had worn the same necklace, a small charm shaped like a star with a blue gem in the center. Jason had given it to her the night before she left on her mission years ago. He had believed she died during the surprise attack, but he never found her body. Now he was looking at the same necklace around Lila's neck and the feeling in his chest grew heavier. When they finally reached the base, a group of medical officers met them. The officers looked at Lila, clearly surprised to see a child. They guided her to the medical room. Lila looked back at Jason, her eyes asking him not to leave her alone. Jason followed her, making sure she felt safe. The doctors examined Lila. Gently, she did not fight them, only watched Jason, trusting him. When they finished, a female doctor gave her a warm blanket and a soft drink. She's healthy, but scared, the doctor told Jason. She needs rest and someone she trusts. Jason sat near Lila, letting her hold his hand. Lila did not talk much, but her eyes followed him everywhere. After a while, she fell asleep again, her hand wrapped around his fingers. Jason stayed, with her unable to leave. His mind was filled with questions he could not answer. Soon, the base commander, Captain Olivia, called Jason to her office. "You did well," she said, looking over her notes. "The enemy did not expect us, but there are questions about the girl." "She's not a threat," Jason said, feeling defensive. "That's not our concern. We must know who she is and why the enemy kept her. Our orders are to run a DNA test. If she is special, we need to know." Jason nodded, knowing he could not refuse. He returned to the medical room, feeling guilty as he explained to Lila what the doctors needed to do. She nodded quietly, trusting him, even when the nurses took a small sample of her blood. While the test was running, Jason stayed close, talking softly to her. He asked simple questions about her life, but Lila answered in short sentences. "I lived with my mother. She told me to hide when the bad men came. Do you remember anything else?" Jason asked gently. Lila shook her head. "Just darkness and loud noises. Then I was alone." As night fell, the results of the DNA test arrived. The doctor looked confused as she called Jason in. "The test shows something unusual," she said. "She is not fully alien. Her DNA matches yours in some parts." Jason stared at the screen. "Matches mine?" "Yes, there is no mistake. She is part human. The pattern is clear." Jason felt the world spin. His hands trembled. Is she my daughter?" "The chances are very high," the doctor replied quietly. "The necklace, the DNA, everything fits." Jason looked through the window at Lila, who was drawing quietly with some colored pens the nurse gave her. Her face looked peaceful, but he could not stop thinking about Kayla, about the past, and about the truth he was finally facing. He walked into the room, sat down beside Lila, and tried to find the right words. "Lila, do you remember your mother's name?" Lila thought for a moment. Her name was Kayla. Jason's breath caught in his throat. He felt tears in his eyes, but he blinked them away. "Was she kind?" "She was the best," she told. "Emmy's stories about the stars. Did she ever talk about a man named Jason?" he asked, voice trembling. Lila looked at him with her big eyes. "She said he was brave and strong, and he would always try to do the right thing." Jason smiled through the pain. "Thank you for telling me." He left the room and found a quiet place in the hallway. He leaned against the wall, feeling a storm of emotions inside him. All this time, he thought Kayla was gone forever. Now he found out he had a daughter who needed him more than anything. Jason promised himself he would protect her, no matter what. Lucas found him there. "What's wrong?" Jason told him everything he knew. Lucas listened, his eyes wide. "That's incredible, Jason. But you know the commanders will want answers. They won't let this go." "I know," Jason replied. "But Leela is my family. I have to look after her." That night, Jason stayed with Lila. He read her stories, and she smiled at his gentle voice. The base was quiet, but he felt the weight of many eyes watching them. He knew things would not be easy. The truth about Lila was too important for the leaders to ignore. The next morning, Captain Olivia called him in again. "The council wants to see the girl. They want to know what she remembers and what she can do. They believe she may have information about the enemy." Jason frowned. "She's just a child." Maybe not," the captain replied. "We can't take chances. You will have to help them question her." Jason nodded slowly, but inside, he knew he would do anything to keep Lila safe. He looked back at the medical room where Lila sat, waiting for him. Her small face was pressed against the window, watching the world with quiet hope. Jason walked back to her, his heart full of worry and love. He reached out and took her hand, promising himself he would stay by her side, no matter what the commanders decided. Whatever happened next, he was ready to face it for Lila. Jason Carter adjusted his helmet carefully, his fingers quick and sure. It was just another mission, like so many before. His heart was calm and his breath was steady. He looked out the window of the shuttle as it approached the enemy base. Stars glittered silently in the vast darkness around him, offering little comfort this deep in enemy space. "Jason, you ready?" asked Lucas, his teammate and friend, voice clear over the intercom. "Always," Jason answered calmly. "Remember, we're here to rescue the prisoner." "Quick and quiet," Lucas reminded him. "Understood," Jason replied, checking his gear one last time as the shuttle landed quietly on the dark surface of the alien planet. Jason and Lucas moved swiftly, their movements practiced and silent. The enemy base stood large and foreboding ahead, lights blinking dimly like distant stars. They reached the entrance, quickly disabling the security system without a sound. Inside, the air was cool, filled with the hum of machinery. The corridors were empty, shadows stretched along the walls, offering protection as they moved silently. Jason led the way, his eyes alert for any sign of trouble. Their intel had indicated the prisoner was held in a secure room at the far end of the facility. Finally, they reached the door. Lucas began working quickly to unlock it. Jason kept watch, his heart steady but alert. Seconds felt like minutes until the lock clicked softly open. Lucas nodded, stepping aside. Jason entered the room carefully, his weapon ready. Inside, the small space was dim, lit only by soft blue lights. In the corner, curled up and trembling, was the alien girl they had come to rescue. Her skin was pale, almost glowing faintly under the blue light. Her large eyes stared at Jason, wide and filled with fear. "It's okay," Jason said softly, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "We're here to help you." The girl hesitated, clearly unsure. Jason noticed a strange necklace around her neck, the design oddly familiar. He pushed the thought away, focusing on calming her down. "Come with me," he encouraged gently. Holding out his hand, slowly, hesitantly, the alien girl reached out and took his hand. Her small fingers were cold but firm. She allowed Jason to lift her carefully, and he felt her shiver slightly against him. "We need to move quickly," Lucas reminded quietly from the door. Jason nodded, gently carrying the girl as they moved back through the shadowed halls. Each step felt heavier now, as if the responsibility of keeping her safe made the mission feel different. He glanced down at her briefly, noticing how quiet and trusting she had suddenly become. They reached the exit without trouble, slipping back out into the darkness. The shuttle awaited them, engines humming quietly. As they boarded, Lucas quickly activated the controls, sending them back into space and away from danger. Inside the shuttle, Jason carefully placed the girl down on a seat. He removed his helmet, taking a deep breath of recycled air, relieved the immediate danger had passed. "What's your name?" he asked the girl softly, kneeling down to her level. "Lila," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Lila," Jason repeated gently. "You're safe now. We'll get you somewhere safe." She looked at him, her eyes wide, searching his face as if trying to understand him. Her gaze dropped to the necklace he wore, and her expression changed to surprise. She reached out slowly, touching the pendant that hung from his neck. "You have one like mine," she whispered, touching her own necklace. Jason looked down, his heart suddenly racing. The design was unique, something he had only seen once before. It belonged to Kayla, the woman he had loved and lost years ago. His heart twisted painfully with memories of her smiling face. "Where did you get this?" Jason asked quietly, gently touching Lila's necklace. "My mother gave it to me," Lila said softly, eyes full of sadness. "She said it would keep me safe." Jason stared at Lila, feeling a deep, strange connection. Questions filled his mind, questions he couldn't yet form clearly. The mission that had seemed so ordinary now felt deeply personal, unsettling him deeply. He realized he couldn't simply let go and forget about this. "Everything all right?" Lucas asked from the cockpit, noticing Jason's strange silence. Jason replied slowly, still looking at Lila, who had curled back into her seat, eyes growing heavy with exhaustion. "Just unexpected." Lucas didn't press further, sensing Jason needed space. The shuttle sped through space, heading back towards safety. But Jason's mind was far away, filled with memories and unanswered questions. He knew deep down this mission had changed everything, and there was no going back to the way things were before Dot as Lila fell asleep. Her small face peaceful, Jason gently covered her with a blanket. Sitting back, he stared out at the endless stars, feeling both troubled and strangely hopeful. He knew now this was not just another mission, it was something far bigger, something personal, and he was determined to uncover the truth behind it, no matter where it would lead him. As days passed, the humans and Lyrians grew closer. Every morning, Dylan walked with Lara to check the crystals and greet the people. The city felt different now. There was laughter in the streets and songs in the air. Hope was everywhere. Dylan had become part of the community, and the Lyrians trusted him completely. One afternoon, Captain Olivia called a meeting. She showed the crew and the Lyrians a new message from Earth Command. Earth was sending another ship to Lyria, bringing scientists and supplies to help. The message also said they needed to decide soon if the crew would stay on Lyria or return. Home. Dylan listened, feeling a mix of excitement and worry. He wanted to help Lyria, but he also missed Earth and his family. After the meeting, he walked through the city, thinking deeply about what he should do. Leia found him sitting by a quiet pool. She sat beside him, dipping her fingers in the cool water. "Are you worried about the new ship?" she asked gently. Dylan nodded. "I don't know what to choose. I want to help your people, but I also want to see my home again." Lara looked at him with kindness. "Whatever you decide, I will support you. You have already changed our world. You gave us hope and showed us how to care for the crystals. Even if you leave, your promise will stay with us." Dylan felt comforted by her words, but he could not decide yet. He spent the next days teaching more Lyrians how to build and use the charging devices. He fixed machines, listened to people's problems, and shared meals with them. Everywhere he went, people thanked him for giving them hope and a future. One evening, a group of elders invited Dylan to a special gathering. They gave him a robe with a symbol of hope and a shining crystal. One elder said, "You are now part of Lyria's story. Your promise will be remembered by every child born here." Dylan felt honored and humbled. Later, Lara took Dylan to a quiet hill outside the city. The stars filled the sky, and the air was cool and sweet. Lara told him stories from her childhood and dreams for the future. She spoke of peace, friendship, and the wish that humans and Lyrians would always work together. Dylan listened, feeling a strong bond with Lara. He realized he cared for her deeply. As the night grew quiet, he reached for her hand. "Thank you, Lara. You helped me remember what is important." She smiled softly. "You helped us remember hope. You kept your promise." The next day, the new ship arrived from Earth. Scientists and leaders came down, amazed by what they saw. They studied the crystals, the machines, and the way humans and Lyrians lived together. Dylan gave tours and explained how they fixed the energy problem. He introduced Lara to the visitors, and she spoke proudly about her people's journey. One Earth scientist, Dr. Matthews, asked Dylan if he would join the next exploration team. "Your knowledge of Lyria and your work with the crystals would help other worlds." Dylan thought hard about the offer. He looked at Lara, who nodded with understanding. "It is your choice. You must follow your heart." Dylan spent the night talking with Olivia and the other crew members. Some wanted to return home. Others wanted to stay and help Lyria. Everyone respected Dylan's decision, whatever it would be. The next morning, the city held a celebration to thank the humans. People danced, shared food, and told stories. Lara and Dylan stood together, watching the joy they had helped create. Dylan knew he had made a difference. He also knew he had to choose his path soon. As the celebration ended, Dylan walked with Lara by the glowing pools. He felt at peace. "No matter what happens, I will never forget this place or you," he said. Leira squeezed his hand gently. and we will never forget you or your promise. You are always welcome in Lyria. Dylan realized then that whatever choice he made, his heart would always belong to both worlds. He smiled at Lara, feeling hope for the future, no matter where he went. Dylan woke before sunrise, the city still silent around him. He stepped out of his tent and looked up at the bright stars. For the first time since arriving on Lyria, he felt a sense of peace. He listened to the quiet songs of the morning birds. And let the cool air clear his mind. The day began with Dylan, Lara, and the crew checking the charging devices all over the city. Everywhere they went, Lyrians greeted them with smiles and words of thanks. Hope was returning, and the people believed their world could be saved. The new light in the crystals made the city glow each night, a gentle sign that things were getting better. Lara stayed close to Dylan as they walked. She seemed more relaxed, sometimes laughing as she told him stories about her childhood. Dylan enjoyed her company, and he started to feel a special bond growing between them. They spoke often about Earth and Lyria, about their dreams for the future, and about the meaning of promises. As they worked together, Dylan noticed a group of Lyrian children playing with small, bright crystals. The children laughed as the stones changed color in their hands. Lara explained, "The crystals respond to feelings happiness makes them shine." Dylan smiled, watching the children. Maybe that's why hope is so important for Lyria. Later that day, Captain Olivia asked Dylan to join her in the command tent. She showed him a message from Earth Command. It warned of a possible storm coming toward Lyria. "We need to be careful," Olivia said. "The storm could damage our equipment and put everyone at risk." Dylan nodded. "I'll check all the devices and make sure they're safe." As the crew prepared for the storm, Lara gathered her people in the main hall. Dylan stood with her, helping explain how to protect the crystals and the new machines. The Lyrians listened closely, trusting Dylan's words. That evening, the sky grew dark and the wind howled through the city. Lightning flashed in the distance. Dylan stayed with Lara and the other Lyrians, helping them stay calm and hopeful. He remembered what had happened when the crystals were surrounded by hope, and he encouraged everyone to hold hands and sing old songs together. The storm hit the city with wild force. Rain poured down, thunder shook the buildings, and the wind threatened to tear apart the tents and machines. But inside the main hall, everyone stayed together, sharing stories and singing. The crystals glowed brightly, their light growing stronger. With every word of hope spoken in the middle of the storm, a loud crash echoed outside. One of the largest machines had been struck by lightning. Dylan and Captain Olivia rushed out into the rain to check the damage. They saw sparks and smoke coming from the machine. Water poured into the controls, and the crystal inside began to flicker. Dylan knew he had to act fast. He called for tools and opened the machine's panel. His hands shook from the cold and the fear of letting everyone down. He remembered the videos, his promise, and Lyra's trust in him. With Olivia's help, he replaced the damaged wires and carefully cleaned the crystal as he worked. He heard Lyra's voice inside the hall, leading her people in a song. Their voices carried through the storm, filling Dylan with strength. He finished the repairs just as the crystal's light almost faded. Suddenly the glow returned, bright and strong. Dylan smiled with relief, and Olivia clapped him on the back. "Well done, Dylan. You saved it." The storm passed by morning, leaving the city wet but safe. The Lyrians celebrated, cheering for Dylan and the crew. Lara hugged Dylan tightly, tears in her eyes. "You kept your promise again. Thank you for saving us." Dylan felt embarrassed by the attention, but happy that he could help. He looked at Lara, realizing just how much she meant to him. The promise he made was not just about saving a planet. It was about caring for her and her people in the days after the storm. Dylan helped rebuild the damaged machines and taught more Lyrians how to care for the crystals. He grew close to Lyra's family, learning about their customs and traditions. Every night, the city gathered around the glowing crystals, sharing stories and dreams for the future. Dylan often thought about his life on Earth. He missed his old friends and family, but he felt at home in Lyria. The kindness of the Lyrians, the beauty of their world, and the strength of their hope filled him with purpose. One evening, as the sun set and the city glowed softly, Lara sat beside Dylan on a hill overlooking the city. She handed him a small, shining crystal. "This is for you," she said. "It holds a piece of Lyria's light and a piece of my heart." Dylan was touched by her words. He took the crystal and held it gently, feeling its warmth. "Thank you, Lara. I will never forget this." She smiled, her golden eyes shining in the fading light. "Promise me you'll always remember." He nodded, his heart full. "I promise." Together, they watched the stars appear in the sky, feeling that, whatever happened next, they would face it together.